Hey, I'm Emma Garlett, and on today's episode of Paint It Blak, I'll be explaining why Indigenous ranges are so important for our land, culture and country. I'll also talk about the important role Indigenous ranges could play in other areas of our economy and provide Indigenous knowledge in WA, especially in the mining sector. Now, join me as I paint it black. Over the past few years, the mainstream media has started hearing more and more about Indigenous rangers assisting government departments. The main group of rangers we've heard about are the ones involved in bushfire mitigation, particularly in WA. Indigenous rangers combine traditional knowledge and techniques along with modern science, firefighting techniques and technology to literally fight fire with fire and reduce the likelihood of large uncontrolled bushfires. Their expertise has even been requested in Canada and the USA to help locals develop plans to prevent wildfires or at least reduce the massive impact they've had on their community. But Indigenous rangers in Australia have been around a lot longer than you might expect. Apart from using traditional techniques for thousands of years, Indigenous rangers as they are now started emerging in the 1990s when Aboriginal land management groups started to become established. Some of these groups included the Dumaru Corporation, which is situated in northeast Arnhem Land, which was established in 1993. Over the years, Indigenous ranger groups have increased in numbers. This is predominantly due to the bipartisan support. Places like Uluru and back home in WA have many beautiful national parks, such as Karajini, Cape Range, Lewin Naturalist, Punalulu, all looked after by Indigenous rangers. And this year, a new national park in the Kimberley region of WA was declared, the Warrabiddy National Park. We have stunning landscapes in Western Australia, and with all these national parks, we need to ensure we fund and develop a pipeline of Indigenous rangers to care for country into the future. This will ensure we are able to utilise our traditional ecological knowledge on our traditional estates and pass on that knowledge to future generations. To help ensure this, the Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions has an Aboriginal Ranger program. And looking more broadly, we have our own desert rangers which care for around 1/3 of Australia's landmass. Earlier this year, the Indigenous Desert Alliance came together in Uluru to connect, share learnings and prepare for another year caring for our deserts. I attended and saw the connection and the relationships the rangers have with each other across the desert. Desert mob make up 1% of the population in Australia, but manage 1/3 of the country. Rangers are important in ensuring the biodiversity and health of the country is looked after, especially when it comes to invasive species. Right now, buffel grass is threatening the health of our deserts. This is an issue which must be addressed, and Indigenous rangers with the right knowledge can be the ones to do that. The training and development of Indigenous rangers is vital, especially considering the increase of gazetted national parks, as well as Indigenous protected areas. In 1997, the Australian government established the Indigenous Protected Areas program, which was to support Indigenous landowners manage parts of their land. Environmental management is an integral component of maintaining and reducing risk on our land. As of 2020, there are around 80,000 disused mining sites around Australia. Some are abandoned and some are laying dormant. Many of these are contaminated sites, and there are upcoming mine sites due for closure. All of these will need to be rehabilitated, which will ensure we pass down a clean Australia for our children. We need to ensure we include Indigenous participation in this, especially considering much of our land is covered with some form of native title or has Indigenous landowners. The traditional owners and our Indigenous rangers know how to care for country, and they can play a large role in helping rehabilitate our land, for our community, for our future, and for our children. There needs to be more government funding for Indigenous ranger programs. This will ensure we secure a strong basis to work from for a sustainable future. Thanks for watching Paint It Blak with me, Emma Garlett. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.